Okay, this is lesson 3.3 of comparing and scaling, the final lesson of the unit, I believe, and talking about unit rates still. Now we're talking about 2 unit rates per problem. So we're going to know how to calculate and use 2 unit rates. To show that, we're going to find both unit rates for different situations. So 2 unit rates, both unit rates. So just a few different examples, pretty quick lesson. Check out our first example. Superfoods, some random food store, has oranges on sale at 10 oranges for $2. What does it cost per 1 orange? Since it's for 1 orange, we divide by oranges. Oranges goes on the outside. 2 divided by 10. 10 does not go into 2. Goes into 20 2 times, which is 20, no remainder. So the cost per 1 orange is 20 cents. If we want only 1 orange, we divide by oranges. How many oranges can you buy for $1? Well, the same thing if we want it for only $1, we divide by dollars, which is 10 divided by 2. 2 goes into 1, 0 times. 2 goes into 10, 5 times, which is 10, no remainder, so 5 oranges. And I'm going to finish out the unit rate by saying $0.20 per orange. 5 oranges per dollar. Unit rate is always for one thing. So let's look. Cost of oranges at Superfoods. We're going to complete the table below using the unit rates that you calculated just now. So let's take a look at the table. Cost of oranges at Superfood. Oranges, we have 10, 1, 20, 11. Cost, $2, $1, $2.60. So a bunch of random numbers. Let's see. We know how much 1 orange costs. That is 20 cents. 20 oranges. Well, that's going to be 20 times 20, which is $4. Which makes sense. If 10 costs $2, we just double that. 11 times 20 cents. Well, it's 20 cents more than $2, so $2.20. That's the whole bottom filled in. Let's look at the top. So oranges. How many for $1? Well, we know it is 5 for $1. For $2.60, well, if it's 5 for $1, it's 5, 10, 11, 12, 13. So 13 oranges for $2.60. So we just count up by each one. Let's check out a new example. Norley used 22 gallons of gas to go 682 miles. How many miles per 1 gallon did she drive? So 682 divided by gallons, divided by 22. 22 goes into 68 3 times, which is 66. Subtract, I get 2. Bring down a 2. 22 goes into 22 1 time. That works out nicely with no remainder. So she gets 31 miles per gallon. How many gallons did it take her to drive 1 mile? So now we reverse it. 22 divided by 682. That's not a very nice division. So I'm going to go ahead and use a calculator, divide the 682, so I don't take too long on this video. We have 22 divided by 682 equals 0.032. I'll stick there. 0.032 gallons per mile. Which unit rate seems more useful to you and why? Well, probably the one that makes more sense. 31 is a not nicer number to think about and realize than 0.032. Also, you never hear about people asking, well, how many gallons does it take you to drive a mile? No, you hear about how many miles per gallon do you get. So miles per gallon. And I'm going to say because the number is easier to think about. You could have said gallons per mile if you think that one is easier and more useful to you. That's fine. This is an opinion question. There's no wrong answer except for leaving it blank. Alright, practice problem. Very, very similar to the last practice problem from the other lesson. A dairy manager says it takes 70 pounds of milk, I should say milk, not mile, to make 10 pounds of cottage cheese. Complete the rate table below. So milk needed to make cottage cheese. We have pounds of cottage cheese. To make 10 pounds, it takes 70 pounds of milk. So we're going to count by 70s. 140, 210, 280, 350, 420, 490, 560, 630, 700. Make a coordinate graph showing the relationship between milk and cottage cheese. So I'm going to put milk needed to make cottage cheese. On the bottom, I'm going to put cottage cheese, so CC. On the side, I'm going to put milk. Keep on trying to forget that L in the milk, so milk. So cottage cheese, in our table it counts it by 10, so I'm going to count it by 10. 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, exactly how high the table goes. Pounds of milk, it counts by 70, so I'm going to go 70, 140, 210, 280, 350, 420, 490, 560, 630, 700. I understand that's probably getting kind of small for you to see. Just do your best. If you could have heard, then you can write it down as you hear. Just rewind if you need to hear it again. Now, graphing it should be pretty simple. 0 needs 0, 10 needs 70, and then it just goes on the diagonals all the way up and makes a coordinate graph with a line. Part C, make an equation, write an equation relating milk M to cottage cheese C. So M equals something times C. Well, it's how many pounds of milk it takes to make 1 pound of cottage cheese. So like the other problem, I'm going to divide 70 divided by 10. Does not go into 7, goes into 70 7 times, which is 7, and no remainder. 7 pounds of milk for 1 pound of cottage cheese. Notice that is also a unit rate. Last example of the unit rates for the end of the unit. Number 2 says a store sells videotapes at $3 for a set of 2 tapes. You have 20 bucks. How many tapes can you buy? So let's take our number 20 and divide it by $3 each. 3 does not go into 2. It goes into 20 6 times, which is 18, with a 2 remainder. But if we have $2, we can't round up to buy a 7th CD. So 6, well, videotapes, not CDs. So 6 tapes. And yes, we rounded down. Suppose there is a 7% sales tax on the tapes. How many can you buy now? Let's think about that. $18 times 0.07, that's a 7% sales tax. 7 times 8 is 56, carry the 5. 7 times 1 is 7, plus 5 is 12, $1.26. So can we afford that? $18 plus $1.26 is 19.26. So we can still buy 7 tapes, because now it still costs us under $20. Alright, let's go ahead and go back through the lesson, make sure we've answered everything completely. This was lesson 3.3 of comparing and scaling, talking about finding 2 unit rates. We found the 2 unit rates for oranges for $1 and dollars for 1 orange, filled in the rate table. Figured out how many miles per gallon Norley got, figured out how many gallons per mile it took her to drive, and written a question. Filled in a table, made a graph and equation, and then answered a final question. This is the end of lesson 3.3 of comparing and scaling, and this is actually the end of the unit, comparing and scaling.